Hi there, my name's Calum. I'm one of the pastors at Elam and Paisley. Over the last few weeks, I've been trying to touch base with some key leaders in our community to find out how things are going during this lockdown crisis. Today I'm talking with Alan Clark. I've known Alan for years. He, for the last 11 years, has been leading Create Paisley, a creative youth organisation in the very centre of Renfrewshire. Today we're going to talk about young people, mental health and the future of Renfrewshire. Check this conversation out. So Alan, thank you so much for joining me today. It's great just to have you. We've known each other for years through various different things that we've done in the past. And as you know, over the last few weeks, I've been trying to get a kind of sense of where the community's at. And I've tried to take kind of different discussions from segments of society that are quite different. And today, what I was kind of really interested in talking to you about was young people. You have been leading Create for 11 years now, and I love the vision of Create. It's the vision to see all young people transform through creativity, community, confidence, and finding their voice. And that whole thing of finding their voice just now, I think is really interesting because during the COVID crisis, I kind of feel like they've lost their voice a wee bit. The mainstream media maybe hasn't been speaking up for young people. It's a crisis that's probably going to affect young people the most, but it's been spoken about the least. And so I think you're the guy just to speak to, especially locally. You've been so involved with young people's lives for the last, over a decade now. So could you just start by telling us a wee bit about who you are, your background, history, how you ended up doing what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you say, I'm Alan Clark. I've been in Paisley since 2001. And I think initially when I moved here, I sort of just did everything in Glasgow. I still was at school, went to shops, kind of, just travelled out with the Paisley and saw it as a place that my parents had moved to, but not somewhere that I personally was invested in.
Yeah.
Over the kind of last 19 years, that's really transformed. And I guess for me, kind of building up a real passion for Paisley, for creative arts, and ultimately kind of wanting to see community transformed and young people's lives transformed. So that's kind of my heart and my vision. I suppose something that I've definitely learned and what's been great to see some of the other kind of conversations you've had is the power of kind of working with other people, and definitely something I'm always been passionate about and continue to be passionate about is how can we work together to kind of see this and see this change that we want to see in our community, to kind of see young people empowered. And so that's definitely a kind of a real passion of mine as well. And I guess another thing worth saying is that I'm massively passionate about creative arts and love music. And yes, again, Paisley is definitely a place to be for all of that. And I think there's just a kind of real potential again of kind of shining the spotlight on young people and their creativity and kind of using that as a sort of tool to empower young people. So
absolutely. I mean, yeah, definitely. So I mean, we actually met because you were doing a whole bunch of music stuff. You're involved with recording. You're actually a very skilled musician yourself, and you're right. Paisley is absolutely the kind of place to be for that, for partnerships, for there's so much local talent, local creativity that's here. And I think just having something like Create actually begins to shine some spotlights on that, and it might otherwise not be found, which is such a key role. So for Create itself, I mean, it's developed massively over those 11 years. And in some ways, when you're working with young people, everything moves much quicker. It's much more fluid. It's less institutionalized, a wee bit more of an amoeba kind of likeness. It just kind of flows and goes. Can you just tell us a wee bit about Create's history, how it started, and kind of how it's developed over those 11 years?
Yeah, so initially, we started as a partnership. So there's a number of kind of churches and YWAM at the time, and a few other people who, and myself included, who saw that there was kind of a lot of young people in Paisley who really had nowhere to go, and particularly kind of a space to play music and just to be with friends. So we all got together back in, I think, May 2009, borrowed a sound system from 3 or 4 locations. And
did you borrow it or did you steal it?
I don't know. I think we returned it, so I think we borrowed it. It definitely got a lot of use though, but we borrowed it from, I think we got speakers from one place and an amp from somewhere else, and it was, picked up guitar amps from Renfrewshire. It was a bit crazy. I think 10 car journeys. borrowed a hall at St Matthew's opposite from where you guys are at, and put on this night. And we had like 40 young people come along to the first one, and
Yeah.
that grew and grew, and it's a kind of a level where I think at one point we had just short of 700 young people, but 670 young people come to our event in the Union in Paisley when we moved there.
Which is amazing, right? I mean, we could just gloss over that, but actually, probably in Paisley, that it's very rare to get an event that would pull in that number of young people into one thing. So it was really significant at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think what was really cool is it was like young people from Paisley and Renfrewshire, but actually it was attracting young people from across Scotland. So we had people from Edinburgh and Ayrshire, and kind of really, I guess, putting Paisley on the map as like this kind of cultural capital for young people. And there was so many good things about that. But I think we never really quite planned to have an event with that number of young people and sort of 70 volunteers. And at the time, 0 staff members. It's all just sort of volunteers that are putting on this once a month event. So that was really great. But I think what we were trying to do is actually figure out how do we get that deeper, more meaningful connection with young people, and how do we support young people on the journey? Can we do things like workshops, do more stuff around youth voice, and so we kind of went on a bit of a journey. Partly because it was quite difficult to manage an event that size, and we had some issues, and which always happen with events where you have hundreds and hundreds of young people all in the same place. Yeah,
everybody says they want that number of young people connected and doing stuff until it happens, and this is like harder work than we kind of envisioned.
I mean, it was so good, but just ultimately, whenever you get like that number together, like people were trying to bring alcohol in, it was there was a few things, and we had to eventually, because of the venue, take on 5 security staff at the door.
Wow.
It was never really our heart to be like, right, cool, let's do bag checks and let the breathalyze everybody, and it just became a bit like like airport security, and it was like not as relational as we wanted. And,
I think it's cool, just that movement from events to relationships that has obviously kind of happened in Create. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so I think that basically led to a kind of journey of thinking about what are we actually really trying to achieve here, and we've always kind of maintained like a slightly bigger event. So our kind of cafe nights that we run at the moment, maybe kind of 50, 60 young people come along to that. So it's nowhere near like 700, but gives us that space for relationship and conversation, and the young people being able to sort of be supported by a trusted adult. Connect with new friends, and build confidence, try music for the first time, and all these kind of really great outcomes that we like to see. And I guess part of the change between those bigger nights and the smaller nights was that sense of like it's something that everybody can feel part of. Whereas when we did the bigger nights, we would have like waiting lists for bands, and they're all like super polished, and it was really great to see that kind of that level of musicianship, and like have some sign bands on with the young bands, and really, really cool. But actually with the open mic, it's a bit more like if you've never sung before, you can go up and like not all 50 people suddenly look at you. You can sort of play, and people are still chatting, and some people are watching, and it's like quite a nice kind of way of I guess jamming, and kind of people being able to try things out that they wouldn't have done before. So
I think as well, I've been working with, as a pastor, you work with young people as well. So for the last 10 years, whatever. And I've definitely seen just a generational shift in that time, like I think back 10, 11, 12 years ago, there was more of a hunger for events and turning up for a buzz of that. And now I would say that has really changed, where people are looking for like kind of a meaningful community, somewhere where they can really belong. So in some ways, you kind of flow with, when you're doing youth stuff, with kind of what the generational change is, and it has changed.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the young people, I guess, that we're engaging with now are probably very different, and not entirely, but they're very different to the young people that we engaged back in 2009. And I think like what's been really great is we've then been able to kind of diversify what we're able to do. So we're really keen to hear from anybody, and if anybody's watching this, I guess, like, get in touch. But we're keen to hear from anybody in Renfrewshire, young people or parents of young people who, if you're aware of something that would really help your young person, or if you're a young person, you want to get in touch with us as well, reach out to us, because we do everything from kind of songwriting workshops now to art stuff to kind of mentoring to we do kind of we're looking at creating a youth space in Linwood, and just really keen wherever we can to kind of add value and support young people. And kind of what you were picking up on at the beginning, that idea of voice, like I think for us that kind of sense of like co-producing stuff with young people, and it's not about us as like a bunch of adults and you know, obviously I'm a bit older than what I was 11 years ago, so I'm getting older for young people to relate to. So
You're more mature, you're cooler, still cool.
that's it. Hopefully I'm still cool. I'm on TikTok now with kids.
Oh no.
Down with the kids.
Yeah.
That saying is probably definitely not down with the kids. But yeah, so yeah, I think we're just really keen to kind of co-produce and like design stuff with young people. Like, what is it that they would like to see, and how can we work together to kind of see that vision in Paisley and Renfrewshire, and kind of move beyond some of those kind of inequalities and like the poverty and disadvantage and isolation that we see in our communities, and use basically creativity and community to do that. So
it's great. I mean, and for anyone listening, I'll include links to the Facebook page, website, all that kind of stuff underneath the video, so you just can click on that and go straight there.
Amazing.
Find out a bit more. I've enjoyed all the videos during lockdown that have been coming up on the Create website, and even people who were involved years ago coming back and bringing something back to the town. And I saw Peter Quinn was just the other day. I used to play in different gigs with him years ago.
Amazing!
When we were teenagers in Paisley. So I think you just seeing some of these people come back and give something back as well is just such a massive part of it. Really, really rewarding, I'd imagine.
So he's doing that from Australia today. So
wow.
12 o'clock, the workshops. We had to do it earlier so that it wasn't like 3 a.m. in the morning for him, so we negotiated our time, and he was doing like a song doctor workshop, but he was involved right there at the beginning. So we always count 1 year minus how old Create is, and that's how many years that we've been friends. So he came along on the first birthday and was kind of sort of thinking, Paisley, like, you know, man, this place is, you know, really tough or whatever. I think this is the way he would describe it. And like Create was on, and he came in and he connected into the community, and he was such an amazing inspiration and kind of brought so much to what we used to do. So it's still cool that he's like on board and supporting and connecting in, even from Australia. So there we go.
It's really cool. So obviously everything was, I mean, we met just before lockdown for coffee, and there was like so much exciting things that Create are involved with and doing, probably beyond the scope of what we can even talk about today, because it's so big, and it's spreading out right across Renfrewshire now, not just Paisley focused. But how has the lockdown situation affected what you're doing, what Create's doing, and how have the young people responded to that?
Yeah, so I mean, we ultimately, like everybody else, we've had to kind of close down all our in-person delivery, which was at a kind of time that was quite tricky to do. Like we'd recently, like a young person from the community had died, and like a lot of young people were sort of grieving over that. And the kind of cafe that we ran before the sort of end of year was almost a memorial. So it was such a really terrible time in a way for us to stop doing what we were doing, and being able to kind of offer that in-person support, or even a safe space to be without having to talk, without having to necessarily try and put things into words. And and I think that was really important for a lot of the young people that were there, that we could even just purely just put that space on. It was really tricky, because what we were trying to do is essentially think, how can we continue to support the young people that we're currently engaged with, and maybe actually young people in Renfrewshire that don't have anything on at the moment, who either like school, you know, they've had to have exams that have not gone ahead, or there's been kind of things that they've not been able to do as a result, or maybe they feel isolated, or maybe they've lost a family member themselves. And we're trying to do our best to think, how can we redesign our program to support people at the moment. And so what we've essentially done is we've put an online program on, everything again from sort of songwriting workshops with Michael Cassidy to like writing workshops, and we've done a sort of series called Teach Me Tuesdays, which is the one that Peter Quinn was speaking at. And then we've tried to kind of recreate our cafe nights, where it blends into a kind of online Zoom space again. But again, it's difficult, because we're not necessarily going to be able to reach the same number of young people that we were able to in person. But we've still been able to reach over 40 young people, which has been really beyond what I was actually expecting. It's been really great, and run about 42 online events now.
Fantastic. Did you just say 42 online events?
Yeah, in the last kind of few weeks, which has been really amazing. Like we have had a couple of new youth workers join our team, which has been really interesting to develop our team during lockdown. So we've done online inductions with them, and they've come on board, and they've just had to kind of, you know, find their feet a little bit. And young people online, and so we've had Breeze and we've had Sarah join our team as well. And the other kind of really cool thing that we've been involved in is we were trying to figure out, how do we how do we still kind of connect with a wider group of young people in Renfrewshire, like beyond the ones that we can sort of maybe who want to come to an online Zoom call, or that might be a bit alien to them, that might not work. So we've done like a boredom box project where we've sent out 1,000 boredom box, or almost 1,000, out to young people across Renfrewshire with like art supplies and wellbeing kit and like postcards so they can write a letter to someone, and chocolate, important chocolate. And
that's fantastic. I mean, like, because I think so many young people are like bored, even from like computer games and all that kind of stuff. The fact that you're just giving them something physical rather than digital to do is, I can imagine that's just such an amazing thing just to get through the door, and a great way just to kind of serve the community.
Absolutely.
Have you had good feedback from that?
Yeah. So what's been really good is we've not. I mean, we didn't have 1,000 young people on our books ourselves that we're like, right, we'll send these out to. So we've been working with like a number of schools and partners and charities and, carers and all sorts of different things. And it's been really great to build up relationships with those organizations and schools, and B, I guess, then be able to kind of reach a much wider group of young people who have particularly maybe been identified as benefiting from that. So we've heard good feedback from young people, but we've also had really good feedback from the partners, and that's been nice to kind of, I guess, develop a relationship where we can hopefully grow that and think, what else can we offer in the long run? And we're kind of trying to reach out at the moment and say, how else can we serve the young people that you're connected with, and is there anything else that we can add that would help you support them? And so that's been really good. So we're kind of starting those conversations at the moment and trying to think how do we possibly kind of connect with those young people who maybe don't have a lot going on, or maybe they don't even have internet access, or some of the things that we take for granted, like we were able to get a small budget of money to kind of get people like MiFi routers so they can get online, and where they might not even be able to do that. So it's just quite frustrating if you can't even get online. So
it wouldn't surprise me genuinely if coming out of lockdown, Create has a much, much bigger impact following group of young people than it had before it went in. And it's funny that sometimes crisis, it like opens up the cracks where there's some missing stuff in society, as much as it shows you all the good things that are happening.
Absolutely.
And even just from doing these conversations, I've begun to see a few different like wee cracks that you think, oh, there's nothing happening in this area. How can we get into maybe serve that or do something there? And it's that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think going forward, it should hopefully, as a society, as a community, give us an idea of some of the ways we can redirect resources and work. So I really am excited for the future of Create. I guess that one of the things I was wanting to touch base with you about is also mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be said at the start, I cannot imagine being, say, 16, 17 years old just now, stuck in maybe a smaller house with siblings you can't stand, and you've been told your exams aren't happening, and everything's up in the air, and there's nothing that's necessarily solid going into next year either. It just feels like, it'd be great just to give some of those people a voice just now. And so how have you been experiencing or seeing some of the effects on young people's mental health?
Yeah, I mean, I guess even just in a really kind of simple example, I think from our experience, a lot of young people have massively changed their sleep patterns. And I know that's not necessarily a mental health issue in and of itself, but I think a lot of young people have kind of really struggled to keep in the same kind of pattern and, sort of kind of habits, and obviously not having school and things to go to, and that routine has actually really massively affected them. And obviously sleep deprivation and stuff, none of that kind of really helps you in terms of your positive outlook or actually being hopeful. And so I mean, that's something that a lot of people have said to us, like they just, they just feel fed up, or they're just permanently tired, or like there's that kind of thing going on. And it's not necessarily always easy to kind of figure out what the root of that is, or maybe even our job to find that out. But where we can, we want to be able to support young people, and just kind of, and we did a kind of self-care challenge with young people, which was like a 30-day challenge on TikTok, which was just kind of like fun things you could do to look after yourself right now. And we're trying to kind of promote people to get involved in that and like duet with us. And like, I didn't even know what a TikTok duet was till like about a month ago. So you can look that up if you don't.
I'm laughing like I'm pretending to know. I've never heard of one.
I think it's like when you go on Instagram with two people. I think you can basically like watch a video and you can kind of film yourself singing along or doing something at the same time.
Maybe the next interview we do will be a musical.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
So it's been good to do stuff like that, and then we also ran obviously Roisin was on with you before, but we ran a kind of mini youth mental health festival, which initially we'd planned for in person, but we did that online. So we did everything from kind of like take a walk with us and did kind of an Instagram live where people could, just promoting the value and the benefit of like getting out and about and appreciating nature and not being stuck in your house, which, actually I think a lot of people can kind of, especially at this time, can kind of, it's safer to stay in your house and, especially there's a lot of fear around like, coronavirus and what that could look like and stuff. And so we were just kind of trying to promote, albeit like, looking after yourself and taking good risks, but promote like doing good things that are good for you. And we had like a music open mic night with one of our young people and just like really kind of positive things for mental health. So so that's been really good.
That's really good. I mean, I think the things I'm seeing as well are just kind of an apathy, maybe just a slightly kind of, and there's maybe those first few weeks of lockdown where there's a bit like everyone kind of there's a bit of an adrenaline rush to it.
Yeah,
like everything was up in the air, everything had changed, and in some ways people were kind of like, okay. And I think as the weeks have gone on, we've realized it's a bit of a lull, that we're in it for the long haul.
Yeah,
and I'm seeing young people that are struggling to see beyond it a wee bit, and it's in some ways a bit of a sense of hopelessness, and I think it just kind of responsibility of everyone really just to try and give them a bit of hope and just a bit of encouragement just to kind of keep going, because it's a tough gig,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think again, just even the simple like you say, having a kind of space just to kind of be and meet and connect, like even us as a team, like I think I've appreciated having that kind of staff team and volunteers and people to work with and kind of I guess work towards something with. And I think for the young people, a lot of them have fed back like, it's been really great just to have this as a regular space. So whether or not they want to come and do something super creative or write a song or not, or whether they just want to come and sort of chat to their friends and play games, like I think a lot of them have fed back to us that they really appreciated that. So just kind of continue to like support each other, have fun, motivate each other,
Well, you did a great job of it, and I'm sure all the kids that are involved, teenagers that are involved, are really appreciative. Obviously, you've been in Renfrewshire for a while now. What were some of your hopes for Create and for Renfrewshire as a whole going forward post-lockdown? What are your hopes?
Yeah, I mean, so it's been amazing. So I've been in Paisley since 2001, and as I said, when I first kind of came to Paisley, I didn't really consider it to be my home. I just was somewhere to stay, and but very much over the last few years, I've kind of seen it as somewhere like that has so much potential, somewhere that I call home. And it's been amazing to kind of, as I say, build up those networks and friendships and connections, and see Paisley and actually Renfrewshire come on an amazing journey over the last kind of few years through. I know you've talked about things like the City of Culture and some of the kind of artists and the coffee shops and all these kind of amazing things that are starting. I think, I guess my vision for Paisley and for Renfrewshire is for that not just to stop, and actually when we could face, potentially a really severe recession, like actually I would love to see Paisley go the opposite way, and for just an increase of kind of creative businesses and freelancers and good housing opportunities for people, that actually Paisley is an inclusive place. That everybody can have a home, and I guess specifically for Create and for young people, like I think we're just really passionate for that kind of inclusive access to kind of creative arts and community spaces and youth work. And it's definitely been something that's been on the decline way before COVID, like actually people valuing the impact of youth work and kind of saying, this is something that's really important. It's not just an add-on, like that. This is a second thought after people go to school. It can massively sort of support a young person in what's quite a formative stage of their life.
Absolutely.
So I think I would love to see every young person have that kind of access to be incredibly creative. So
I love that vision. Just this access for every young people across our town. I think it'd be amazing to see in 5 years' time just some of the young people that are coming through now see what they're doing for the town. It'd be great to see
Yeah,
Paisley on the map as a real creative centre in Scotland as well. And I think it's going that way. I really do.
absolutely. Yeah.
It's great. So, Alan, thanks so much for your time. If
Thank
people
you.
are interested in Create, how can they? I mean, I'll leave all the links below, but how can they get in touch? How can they find out more?
So, as my new youth worker Breeze keeps saying, she says at Create Paisley. So there we go. I'm quoting her, but basically you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the kind of main. I don't know why I did Facebook last year. There you go.
That's probably for young people. You know, it
Yeah,
probably is TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter's like down there, isn't it?
yeah. LinkedIn if you're ever involved in yeah, but we are on all those channels, so please look us up and get involved. And we also have a website and stuff as well. I think in terms of like we would love to get more connected in with people. So if you're interested in volunteering, if you want to kind of run a creative session, if you want to kind of come and be part of, you know, you don't know where you want to fit in, but you're interested in, you know, just get in touch. And we can see how we can work together. So
Alan, just really, really appreciate you and what you do
thank you.
For the town. A lot of it's unseen behind the scenes, but just thank you for everything you're doing for the community. And just let's keep just hoping, praying that there is that creative community that kind of rises up over the next few
Absolutely.
years in the town.
Thanks so much for having me, and honestly really encouraged by watching all these other interviews as well, and I'm really excited for what's next for you guys. And yeah, so thanks for
Cheers,
having
Alan.
me.
Yeah, fantastic team, fantastic community to be a part of, isn't it, Paisley?
Yeah.
So, cheers, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.